Welcome back for another deep dive. This time, we're taking a swing at something pretty unexpected, the power of the pelvis in the golf swing.
Yeah.
We've got this presentation from a golf academy director, and it's jam-packed with data from actual pro golfers. And let me tell you, it is eye-opening stuff.
It really is. A lot of times we focus on arm strength or shoulder rotation when we think about power, but the pelvis is like this unsung hero, really driving that energy transfer throughout the whole swing.
Okay.
You could think of it like a tightly wound spring. That's your pelvis, loading up with power.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
So this presentation, it defines pelvis lift as like how much the pelvis moves, up and down during the swing, measured from its position at address.
Right.
And they've got this graph showing how the pelvis actually moves. And it's kind of this surprising S shape.
Yeah.
It drops, then it lifts, and then it stabilizes. It's not what you'd kind of intuitively think, right?
Yeah. Exactly. You might assume you just want this constant upward motion for, maximum power.
Yeah.
But that initial drop is, it's key. It's like, think about drawing back a bow before you launch an arrow. That drop creates this loading phase, right? Storing that potential energy in the muscles, and then that's what gets unleashed in the lift, boosting that clubhead speed.
So it's all about storing and releasing energy at the right moment.
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense. And they really hammer home the point that this pattern, it's consistent across both male and female pro golfers.
Right.
Even though, they might have really different swing style.
Exactly. It's like this fundamental principle for generating power in the golf swing. Now, when we start looking at specifics, right? At the top of the backswing, both men and women pros have dropped their pelvis about an inch on average. But here's the interesting part. During the downswing, the drop increases a little bit more before that rapid lift kicks in.
So there's a double dip down before it explodes upwards. Like they're winding that spring even tighter.
Precisely. And by the time they reach impact, the pelvis has lifted on average about half an inch for men and slightly more for women. It's just fascinating how this small but super powerful movement contributes to the overall force of the swing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I bet the lead leg plays a pretty crucial role in driving that upward motion, right?
You're absolutely right. The source really emphasizes the extension of that lead leg and the hip in powering that pelvic lift.
Okay.
It's like this lever, right, initiating this chain reaction that transfers energy from the ground up through the hips and core and eventually reaches the club.
So we're not just talking about brute strength here.
Yeah.
It's about really using your body's mechanics to your advantage. And it all starts with that initial drop, like coiling that spring before unleashing that energy in a powerful upward motion.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's about timing and coordination, like a perfectly choreographed dance move. As that lead leg extends, it creates this stable base, allowing the upper body to rotate with more power and more precision.
So it's like setting a strong foundation to build that upward momentum on.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But something else in this presentation kind of surprised me. They mentioned that some pro golfers don't actually lift their pelvis higher than their address position at impact.
Yeah.
Even with, this general upward trend we've been talking about.
Right. That's a great point, and it highlights the fact that there's nuance within this principle.
Okay.
It's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Yeah.
Factors like individual swing styles, body types, even flexibility can influence the exact motion.
So while that drop, lift, stabilized pattern is important,
Yeah,
there's room for individual variation within that framework.
absolutely. And that's what makes golf so fascinating. It's not just about mimicking a pro's swing.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the underlying principles and then adapting them to your own unique body and style. It's like having a basic recipe, but adding your own personal touch to create something special.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So we've got this powerful S-shaped movement happening with the pelvis,
You're right.
driven by the lead leg extension.
Yeah.
But what happens after impact? Does the pelvis just, stay put?
Not at all. The pelvis actually continues to rise after impact,
Oh.
reaching its highest point during the follow-through before finally dropping back down and stabilizing.
So it's like a smooth, continuous wave of motion throughout the entire swing.
Exactly. And that continued upward motion after impact is crucial for maintaining balance and efficiently transferring all that energy into the ball flight. It ensures a smooth and powerful finish.
It's amazing how this one part of the body, the pelvis,
Right.
plays such a central role in orchestrating the entire swing.
It really is. And the data from these pro golfers gives us like this fascinating glimpse into the timing and magnitude of this motion. For instance, at the top of the backswing, both men and women have dropped their pelvis about an inch on average. But then during the downswing, the drop actually increases a bit more before that powerful lift kicks in.
So it's like a double dip down, like really loading up that spring before releasing it.
Precisely. And by the time they reach impact, the average lift for men is about half an inch.
Okay.
While women average slightly higher, this difference might be attributed to variations in swing mechanics or physical characteristics.
So even within the general pattern, there are subtle differences based on individual factors.
Absolutely. And that just reinforces the point that there isn't one perfect pelvic motion.
Right.
What matters is understanding the principles and finding what works best for you.
Okay.
It's about maximizing your own potential, not trying to fit into someone else's mold.
I love that. It's about personalizing the approach based on individual needs and abilities. Now let's talk more about the lead leg's role in all of this. The presentation really emphasizes its importance in driving that powerful pelvic lift.
Yes, the lead leg and hip act like a lever, initiating that chain reaction of energy transfer from the ground up. It's what powers the entire swing, like the engine of a car.
And it's not just about raw strength.
Right.
It's about timing and coordination, too.
Absolutely. The lead leg extension needs to be timed perfectly to coincide with the unwinding of the upper body. It's like this beautifully synchronized movement where each part of the body plays its role at precisely the right moment to create a seamless and powerful motion.
So it's not enough to just have strong legs.
Yeah.
You need to know how and when to engage them effectively in the swing. It's like a conductor leading an orchestra, making sure each instrument plays its part at the right time for like a harmonious symphony of motion.
That's a great way to put it. And this highlights the importance of working on lower body strength and flexibility, not just upper body strength, for a truly powerful and efficient golf swing.
So for our listener who might be an avid golfer
or
just someone, fascinated by the science of sports, what's the key takeaway here?
I think the biggest takeaway is that the pelvis plays a far more dynamic role in the golf swing than most people realize. It's not just along for the ride. It's actively driving power and efficiency. And while there's a general pattern of drop, lift, and stabilize, the exact motion can vary based on individual factors.
It's about understanding the principles, observing your own swing, and finding what works best for you, right?
Exactly. And if you're looking to improve your swing, don't hesitate to seek guidance from a qualified golf professional who can analyze your technique and help you personalize your approach based on these principles. They can be a valuable resource in helping you unlock your full potential.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling inspired to hit the driving range.
Yeah.
And pay much closer attention to what my pelvis is doing during my swing.
Me too. It's amazing how these seemingly small details can make such a huge difference in your game.
Okay, so we've spent some time uncovering this this drop, lift, stabilize pattern in the pelvis. And we talked about how the lead leg is like, acting like a lever to really drive that motion.
Yeah, like a piston almost.
Yeah, exactly. And then we also touched on how this pattern, it's not like a strict rule, it's more like a guiding principle.
Right. There's definitely room for individual variation based on, things like swing style and body type, which makes me think back to that point about some pros not even lifting their pelvis past their address height at impact.
Right, yeah. It seems so counterintuitive when you first hear it. But it really highlights that golf isn't about these like robotic movements, It's about understanding these principles and then applying them in a way that works for you.
Yeah, exactly. The goal isn't to copy someone else's swing perfectly. It's about finding your own optimal movement pattern that maximizes your power and efficiency.
So if our listener is out on the course or at the driving range, what's the one thing they should really keep in mind about their pelvis?
I'd say the key takeaway here is this. Your pelvis, it's the engine of your swing. It's not just along for the ride, it's actively generating power and efficiency.
Yeah, I love that. The engine of your swing. And while that, that drop, lift, stabilize pattern, that's a great starting point, right?
Yeah.
It's not about forcing a specific movement. It's about really paying attention to what your body's doing and finding what feels powerful and natural for you.
Exactly. And if you're looking to, really improve your swing, Working with a golf professional can be so incredibly helpful. They can analyze your technique, identify any areas where you might be losing power and help you kind of fine-tune that pelvic motion for maximum efficiency.
Yeah, it's like having a personal trainer for your swing.
Yeah, totally.
They can help you unlock your full potential and really harness the power of your pelvis.
Absolutely. So, don't be afraid to seek guidance and really explore what works best for you.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the power of the pelvis in the golf swing. We've learned about the dynamic S-shaped motion, the crucial role of the lead leg, and the importance of individual variation. It's been a fascinating exploration, and I hope our listener has gained some valuable insights that'll help them, really improve their game.
Me too.
Remember, knowledge is power, especially in golf. So take what you've learned, experiment on the course, and discover the incredible potential of your own pelvis. Until next time, happy golfing.